Well, hello everybody. Last week before Christmas holidays officially, all the kids out of school. For me, it's going to be great because I got my girls coming here to Hamilton, Ontario, where we're going to get to do Wonderland and Niagara Falls. We're going to get to do the Toronto Winter Festival. It's going to be a great time. It won't be enough time. The week will go fast, but 5 years in the making since my divorce. That year of the divorce was the year we were to do Wonderland and across the border to Disneyland, but half of it will be reached here this holiday, and next summer will be another story. So it's great for me, and I see people are starting to log on. Lots to talk about here. Really big news all weekend long, all around Canada. And of course, I've done a lot of research and a lot of work on a variety of topics. And of course, that's for developing our platform for the PCC. But something's changed in one province. Well, a couple of things changed. One, the 49 Chiefs of Alberta. Sorry, I guess the sunlight here. Yeah, that's too bad the sunlight switched, but yeah, that's a little better for now. So, 49 Chiefs rebelled against the regional chief, ousted her. They want nothing to do with what's going forward, which is good for me. It's a flicker of hope. Another huge flicker of hope comes, and that's Brian Jean winning the nomination in Alberta for Fort McMurray, which means he's going to go toe-to-toe for, once again, leadership of UCP that he helped build as he joined the Conservative Party of Alberta with absolutely the Wild Rose Party. And we all feel that went down badly. We know that Jason Kenney is prone to cheating and absolutely lying, as all Albertans know now. And it's cost him the lowest polling numbers ever. To put it in perspective, Ralph Klein, with 30% more support than Jason Kenney has now, resigned as premier. In 2006, he called her a day. He said, if I'm not over 50% of all of Albertans, I don't belong in this seat. And he resigned. So think of that. 30% lower is Premier Jason Kenney. Out of the ashes comes Brian Jean once more. He wins definitively Fort McMurray, the nomination. 68% of Conservatives in Fort McMurray go for Brian. I think we will see this all over Alberta, and I think the Calgary base for Jason Kenney is going to collapse quite a bit. A lot of that absolutely has to do with not only the vaccination rollout, taxation, the destruction of the revenue side of the equation for our provincial budget. And Jason Kenney holds, and I quote, triple the deficit spending than Rachel Notley, as if it couldn't get any more radical, any more socialist. Jason Kenney blew it out of the water. So, what does this all mean, everybody? I'm banned from the UCP. I can't hold a membership in UCP, even downtown Edmonton UCP Constituent Association, as well as many all over the Edmonton and Greater Edmonton region, have tried desperately to get me in to no avail. And even Edmonton Center, the major municipality, I've been invited many times for even presidency of UCP constituency associations. Jason Kenney had me destroyed in the media. They painted me as a racist. You can all look up that media. They try to claim that while I was blind, I set up a constituency meeting, which I was invited to. I didn't organize, and I was not, even though I built the constituency association. All of those UCP founding members of the party will testify in any court, should I bring it forward, that I did not remain a part of the board. I helped set it up. I nominated everybody. I helped establish it. And then I raised my hands and walked away because I was building the Independence Party of Alberta. I was honest. I wanted to make sure the Conservatives had something in place. I was hopeful Brian Jean would win the leadership. He did not. From there, Jason Kenney totally betrayed me, as he's betrayed thousands and thousands of Conservative Albertans. Mostly, for everybody's knowledge, Ralph Klein loyal Conservatives. That's what he did. And, you know, it doesn't end there. He went through all the Wild Rosers. Is there a division there in Wild Rose of some problematic social conservative, as they call themselves, issues? Absolutely. Brian's going to have to take that all on. I have much research. I am more than happy to share that with Brian Jean and his loyal lieutenants, as they call them. I know all of his insiders. I've been a part of them for many years. We're all still really close, even with our different ideas. I will never be a member of UCP. Will I donate to Brian's campaign? Probably, what I can spare. And will I assist as an Albertan? Sure I will. But I won't be allowed a UCP membership, not unless there's a change in presidency and an apology letter from several specific constituency associations, namely Superior Court Justice from Ontario, who parachuted into the Edmonton region, who absolutely threw me under the bus. I would like an apology letter from them, and I would like that in writing. I don't see that happening, but that's the reality. And if the party has to do it in a different manner, should Brian Jean win, great. If not, I could care less, because the reality is I know my friend Brian Jean through and through. He loves Alberta. He knows a lot. He surrounds himself with very smart people. I'm one of those people in that circle. I've always been loyal to him. I'll be allowed to assist him in all kinds of areas. That doesn't mean I'm going to join the party or take any appointments provincially. I'll remain hands off. I'll be more than happy to provide research completed that I've done, credible, verifiable, with world experts, which brings me to my point of tagging my friend Richard Albert in this post. So Richard Albert, you said you doubt in your lifetime that a province would entertain constitutionalism, that you don't think that even getting provincial constitutionalism is even possible. Well, Richard, I can tell you definitively today that should Brian Jean win Alberta, we're likely to see constitutionalism in the province of Alberta. And I am sure, my friend, that you could easily be a part of that. And for the same cost of a provincial referendum, as you've laid out, we can get that done, my friend. I already know several independent MLAs, as I introduced you to one, who would be more than happy to get involved with that, as are you and as am I. Our platform and our participation on the idea that every Albertan and every first person meeting for the province of Alberta alone, all 49 treaty Indians, meaning all reserves by reserve, absolutely the settled Métis communities as they are in their 8 property bordered outlined areas, which is the Treaty Indian land, which was settled for them in the early 30s. They will be looked at, and we will even have my presentation for all of you completed over 4 years in the Arctic overlap, which brings forward Russia and the United States of America. I'm going to show you all exactly both political parties, how Senate works, how the Federation of Russia works, exactly how we have to go through that, what their participation must include, and what we must show all treaty Indians of the overlap in Treaty 8. That's absolutely. And any Métis that reside outside of Treaty 8 or within it. We're going to go through all that too. I am going to lead by example. I'm staying on the federal path of my party. Having a loyal premier, should Brian Jean win UCP, is huge. It's huge, Canada. Francois Legault, which brings me into the next topic. Francois Legault. I'm sorry, I'm going to backtrack. I missed something. Labor Relations, Labor Code. I have much that overlaps the Canadian Indian Act, the build of absolutely labor relations and the abuses done to the labor code. This comes predominantly from the social conservatives who have actually adopted liberal policies. Liberal policies now federal NDP is more than agreeable with, that have not only destroyed unions as they are, meaning removing key democracy that's not even highlighted. It's represented in fresh acts and bills destroying labor relations in the province of Alberta, which again for everybody is absolutely provincial. It's Section 92. I'm going to go through all of that with Brian Jean. Should he win the leadership, he will get it all for absolutely free. I will make sure that all of his key appointments and those he deems are going to have all that knowledge for absolutely free if he wins. We're going to go through unionism entirely. We're going to go through non-union entirely. Their historical designs, why they exist in real history, what success rates they have throughout the world, and why they have to be. But they have to change in the narrative that liberals and conservatives are making them. The Jagmeet Singh is fully adopted. We can't have political parties interrupting non-union labor code designed by non-union workers or labor relations by those who wish to collectivize the representation. There's ways about doing this that respects the laws of businesses and property rights and much other things. There's a balance that no longer remains, which has turned unions largely into the enemy. Union members themselves know something's wrong. We're going to show you all how to get through that, how to give a real narrative and absolutely cement it in constitutionalism. We can make a Big Tent party under a Brian Jean leadership. We can make a Big Tent party cementing Section 96 for the first time in Canadian history since 1867 for at least all Albertans, all Treaty Indians who are seated in Alberta, all the Métis and all the Inuit, which does not interfere. All Indians, listen to me now. Canadian Indians, listen to me. This will not upset all the overlaps in regional systems of your historical peoples and all international treaties. Don't worry. I understand international law. Brian Jean has a great concept of it too. Several of his key people, his closest insiders, more than trained, more than specialized in this, and in fact have participated in a lot, maybe not as much as me and didn't go as far worldwide, but they understand the concept and they trust what I bring forward as I bring forward the best doctorates in the world. And Treaty Indians that are seated, because you're Alberta, we're going to show you a whole pile you've never seen before. That I can do with the right premier, with the right political party. Would I trust Rachel Notley or NDP as they're designed? No way in hell. Would I trust UCP under anybody other than Brian Jean? No way in hell. Would I trust Liberals? No way in hell. And the fact of the matter is, all the rest of the parties, as I've put it out there for other parties, and they just won't gravitate to it. They go in areas that are destructive, and I can't go forward with that. If there was something else, everybody, I would present it to you, but Brian Jean is all there is, and that's a good thing. Constitutionalism for the province of Alberta and going forward is a good thing. It only strengthens the PCC, which is a federal narrative I have to build. Having an ally like Brian Jean as Premier is great. Moving on, Francois Legault, Quebec. I went through a lot of this many years ago with Francois Legault before he ever made it to Premier, when he was just fresh paint, working towards getting CAC elected. I supported them. I spent 3 weeks with them, working diligently with them. It didn't work out, not entirely. Francois Legault has gone a different direction. He took a federal narrative with Yves Blanchette and absolutely Justin Trudeau. He's gone back on a lot of things. There's a lot of stuff I did for them and promises he made, and I kept those emails and absolutely those party communications. I keep those emails, I backed them up, and I didn't just do that. They're screenshot and absolutely signed, sealed, certified. So when the day comes to go to Quebec and door knock once more, when I get my booster and it's hands off, which is going to bring me into the next point of this post. When I go through Quebec this spring, I'm going to remind Premier Francois Legault and CAC Party all the intellectual property I provided for them, all the work I did free of charge, and the commitments that they made to me. And no, Francois Legault was not the Premier, and he wasn't official leader of the party at the time he was running for it, but he made a lot of promises to me, and I'm going to remind him of those promises he made to this Alberta boy those years ago. Premier or not, and people can laugh, I never throw anything away, and a promise is a promise. And if he's going to go back on his word and he's going to say beat it, we'll see, and we'll see if the media picks that up, because it's real, credible, and verifiable. I would love to see Quebec join me in a narrative. If I can outline this for the province of Alberta, let's stop the crap, Quebec. Let's give the people of Quebec the real narrative they're looking for. Let me show you a real example with a real federal party committed to regional provinces, cementing a much stronger Canada for everybody. And the power of the people is the power going forward. The supremacy of God. The idea that nobody worships nobody over anybody else, and that politicians are not gods, they're people elected by you to serve. And to do that, there must be rules in place that the people can look at, that courts are independent of the government, that have a rule book, because that's how they work on constitutionalism. That's how your courts should work. A knife's edge, not juristocracy, not King's Court, independent judiciaries for the people, by the people, who run on unpenetrable laws of the people to protect the people against evil governments who would steal from you, would rape, harm, or hurt you. Those rules sit there, and they're there for a reason, so that you can use the courts to unseat unscrupulous government officials, or those who would steal and hurt from you, or worse, destroy you for foreign governments or foreign special interests to fill their own pockets. That's called rules of governance, how to govern, and absolute accountability. You need your courts to work for you people. And that's what constitutionalism's about. No other party is ever going to give it to you straight. No other Canadian is going to give it to you straight. I have the greatest minds in the world, which now brings me to immunization. I see I have a lot of friends even Muslim friends, Old Testament Christian friends who think you're going to post on my platforms to sell your utter and absolute bullshit. I'm going to go through immunizations. Again, from the province of Alberta, who has the most lax, and I repeat, most lax laws on any kind of mandatory vaccinations. Albertans with the least amount of mandatory vaccination programs in the entire country. Ready? Ready, Canada? And for my Albertans, you've all been injected many, many times with many vaccines and even boosted. There was nothing mandatory about it. You can go through the Alberta schedule. I paid $612 more out of my pocket. That's the end of my Christmas spending for Canadians. It's the end of the work I do for anti-vaxxers. You're all going to get deleted because here's the deal. Many of you have taken many vaccinations, many immunizations as children, if you were born here, just in the province of Alberta alone, for a variety of viruses and absolutely all kinds of bacteriums. That's a reality. A whole slew of viruses that can destroy you as a child or into your early adulthood. Many of you do this, you don't even know. Your parents put you through as babies. It's on your vaccine list. You can go request that from the government of Alberta. Look at those vaccines and their weird names, and you will see a slew of all of the things that you're vaccinated against, which lead to many of the diseases that absolutely are magnified by COVID-19. I learned something, anti-vaxxers. A whopping majority of you that get homeschooled because of religion and everything else don't have a whopping amount of these immunizations that a mass majority of others have, which is why COVID-19 vaccinations hurt a lot of you. Not hurt you, but they lead to a resurgence of other immunized diseases that the rest of the population was immunized throughout childhood while they were in public or Catholic school. They went through it. Much of the population. It's why most of you are skewed on the stats. Sorry, that's the truth. You cost Alberta Health Services many times much more money than the rest of us under the immunization schedule from the public sector schools and the Catholic schools. That is an absolute fact. Now, I can get real mean on a website with a political party platform. So I'm going to tell friends and followers, take your fucking propaganda, shove it up your fucking ass. I've spent all the money. I can hurt you, embarrass you. I can hurt religions beyond all measure. And I am a Christian man. I am spiritual. I believe in God. My girlfriend believes in the Creator. I can embarrass radical First Nations, radical Christians, radical Muslims, and all kinds of homeschooled individuals. I can embarrass you. I can roll out just how much more money you bleed out of the system on average, especially in healthcare. You want to talk socialism? I can really hurt you just in the province of Alberta. Now, guess what? There's 8 other regions just probably nearly as bad as Alberta. They're not as bad, but they're close in other ways, and in certain lights they are. This is not the same for Ontario, and it's not the same for New Brunswick, and it's definitely not the same for BC. Those 3 regions have mandatory vaccinations all through schooling for much. Alberta does too, but they don't do it in school. They do it throughout your pediatrics a different way, as do other provinces. I spent just for the province of Alberta. I know where these numbers come in. I've had enough of anti-vax. And when I start rolling out forward, if anti-vax persists, I'm going to start hurting specific religious groups, specific homeschooling groups attached to some heavy social conservatives, absolute liberals, and those in NDP who back them up because you sure love your socialism at all kinds of expenses for everybody else. I think that the mainstream Canadian, especially the mainstream Alberta taxpayer, who in large part pays more than everyone else in Canada, not to be rude, I think you deserve to know where a huge amount of your expenses come from, the consequences of unrestricted socialism. I think people need to know that. And my work is backed up by Oxford. They published Omicron today. They talk about Omicron, but the reality is there's much more work. Oxford took a little from me, not a whole lot, because it hurts the socialists. It hurts those Labour Party socialists. It hurts those liberal governments. It hurts those social conservatives. I'm about the truth. I'm about exposing things as they really are. You don't get rights and freedoms at all kinds of expenses to everybody else. You don't. And I learned that from a Southern libertarian group, a very common sense based libertarian group that's ruled illegal in Canada. Actually, throughout the Commonwealth, they are absolutely forbidden. They only legally exist in the United States of America, on this earth today, in all 193 nations. They're the only group. I know the president very well. We've been friends for very many years. They have a very, very good common sense based approach, and their oath of their organization is something I treasure. And it is very simply, you can have every right and freedom you want, but it can't expense, threaten, or harm anybody else's rights and freedoms. And when you have a gross expense, it means you're going to have to pay for your right. You can have your right, but you must be willing to pay for it out of your pocket. And if you can't do that, you don't have a right to that right. Being responsible for your rights is another issue. That's when you get into harming everybody else's rights. Be responsible. The same accountability you wish for government. And like it or hate it, that's reality. And when you educate an entire population who considers themselves left, right, or center, you'll find that after a vigorous education in real constitutional conventions, the likes of which my friend Richard Albert and myself and many other of the greatest constitutional doctorates in the world today, the best historians in the world today, will be successful with absolutely all the masses. Now, your autocratic governments, 1, 2, 3, do not wish that to happen. Not in their crown federally, and absolutely not in any province or region or which is territory in Canada. They don't want that. Absolutely not. Even more so than the radical federalists. Because right now they run on full steam ahead whatever they wish to do autocratically, as long as they don't step on the lieutenant governor and the prime minister's feet. That's the truth, people. This is my video today. Huge amount of information. High hopes going forward for Alberta. That's for Canada. Getting the Regions won is paramount. Seeing a Premier Brian Jean would be nothing but pure excellence for PCC going forward. That makes our candle that much brighter. Regardless, it leaves an example for absolutely all of the rest of Canada, and it's something I can hold Premier Legault to, if not publicly, at least privately. And I will bang on those doors in the spring, and we'll see how Brian Jean makes out over the next year. Get behind him, Albertans, because you're going to see another narrative in Quebec. And I believe I can get that forward, especially if there is a successful Brian Jean. Thanks, everybody. Share, share, share. Huge amount of information. The anti-vax stuff has to go. It's out to lunch. It's been myth busted beyond all measure. And like I said, January, I'm getting my booster. And I've already enjoyed all kinds of full freedoms. And now I'm at the point where I want businesses unrestricted and I want masks gone. And I know I have the academic community to back me up. And for you radical religious folks, you other crazy narrative radicals that perpetuate the anti-vax, I'm coming with some big guns and I'm going to embarrass you fully, and exploit that all, which means bringing down the socialists, bringing down the liberals, and bringing down and embarrassing all social conservatives. That's a fact. I got the guns, I got the firepower, I have the data, and I am going to win. At the end of the day, for the people, by the people, the real truth. Thanks, everybody. Love ya. Happy New Year coming, and Merry Christmas to all of you. There'll be a lot of personal posts going forward. Share, share, share. God bless. Goodbye.